Down in the city of Gotham, the Joker's story begins. It starts off with Mr. Wilde at the Wilde Manor, being scared for his life. He repeatedly says he is going to be killed by Joker. Senior Detective James Gordon assures him that that is not the case, because the doctors have checked Mr. Wilde's food and the police are lined outside his manor in case of any intruder. However, he isn't calming down and screams that he has a wife and children, to which the detective assertively expresses that the man will be protected. Right when Mr. Wilde gets a relieved expression on his face upon looking at the time, which is past 12, thinking he will not be killed, a poisonous dart comes out of nowhere and stabs him in the neck, and all of a sudden, gas spreads across the room, making everyone drop to the floor. It is paralyzing gas. From inside the armor statue, eyes twinkle as it turns out, the Joker was inside the manor the whole time. The crazy villain begins hacking his victim's arms and legs, having fun with stabbing with a sword. At one point, the mask of the costume began getting in his way, so he took it off. He would then make sure his victim is dead. If they weren't, he would hack their other arm. He even plucked eyeballs out with the tip of his sword and juggled with them. The detective who was telling the story mentions that when the Joker got to him, he stopped, saying that he liked his mustache. He then proceeded to laugh maniacally. James Gordon turns to Batman and while smoking his cigar tells him that the Joker is not just some villain a person with a badge can pursue. He continues elaborating that he tried, and now he has to plan a funeral for 8 people. Back at the Batcave, Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, calls Brute Nelson, a well-renowned seeker of justice, and reintroduces himself as someone who was late to his own party. He then gets down to business, asking if Brute has ever heard of the Joker, who is a new villain in town. He says he wants advice from Brute on whether he should catch Joker. He runs his plans to become a well-respected hero, like Brute Nelson. His plan, which involves luring Joker with a note and then beating him up, does not sound foolproof at all, especially the way he is talking so unseriously about it. While Bruce has dinner, his butler gives him a valuable lesson on the importance of being honorable. The news spreads quickly, and everyone seems to have different reactions. The rumor that Brute Nelson will kill Joker seems to spark a lot of controversy. And finally, the rumor reaches the Joker himself, who is operating on a conscious man, torturing him. On the day of the supposed fight, Nelson sits in his manor, and as the clock strikes 12 midnight, he believes he will not be attacked and makes the mistake of relaxing. However, from outside the door there is sound saying, "Justin." Nelson perks up with his gun, asking who's Justin, and when Joker comes running in with a knife, shoots him. This does not faze the crazy villain, who still rushes up with the knife. In trying to defend himself, Nelson gets his hand stabbed. Right when he is about to meet his demise, Batman shows up and takes Joker by his collar, telling him that he is not scared of him in the least, because he is just someone with paint on his face. He then introduces himself as Batman, who fights for vengeance. He gives Joker 2 choices. Either he surrenders and is taken to the hospital, or he fights and gets his knees broken. The Joker watches with a wide smile on his face, and to Batman's surprise, jumps out the window. Batman runs after him, falling through the window as well, albeit more clumsily. Meanwhile, Joker has already taken a hold of a car, in the process stabbing an innocent individual. He then drives fast and runs Batman over, who gets hit and is severely damaged. Joker gets out of his car, repeatedly kicking the bruised and battered villain, who keeps mumbling about the Joker being a loser and pathetic. He then throws the superhero down the bridge into the water. Somewhere in Puerto Rico, a demolished and rotten boat is brought on shore, where it is studied. It is said to have some sort of chemical that might even melt fingers off. Stormwatch questions why they are brought in to examine this, instead peeve the coastal guards. But they are told that the coastal guards that took care of the previous 3 ships all died. This catastrophe might be tied to the Dead Sea Blade, a weapon so strong that it could bring the entire Atlantis on its knees. The story goes that the swordsmith that made the weapon said it was so dangerous that it had to be kept in the middle of the ocean, thousands of miles from shore. The Zect people that are in charge of the ruined ships and the dead people are planning to build their kingdom.